Sometimes things don't go to plan, and I'm a bit embarrassed about what you're about to see in this video. This is the story of how I had to be rescued by the same 4x4 group twice in 2 days. This is the day after the mud pit disaster, in which I'd gotten the Land Cruiser stuck. I'd put up an SOS distress call in a local 4x4 group and had to be rescued by them. After all the craziness of that day, all I wanted to do was get a good night's sleep. So I'd pulled off the trail in a forested area and found a little culvert off the side where I'd pitched camp. What I hadn't banked on though was torrential rain during the night, which had totally filled up the track with water. There was a muddy hill on the way down, and I firstly tried to reverse the Land Cruiser up it to avoid having to turn around, and that was a massive failure. I did a classic million-point turn and attacked it from the front, but to my surprise, this was also a failure. I kept on at it, but only succeeded in burying the Land Cruiser once again in the deep Cantabrian mud. Get the recovery boards off. I got the recovery boards and worked away with those, but they just got buried in this seemingly bottomless mud pit. It was also at this point that I realised that my spare wheel was missing. What the hell? My first thought was that someone must have nicked it.
Someone's nicked my spare tyre and I don't know how.
The more plausible scenario is it must have fallen off during that insane day and I hadn't noticed. Either way, the result was the same. The car was once again buried in mud in a remote area, and now I had no spare in case I ripped a tyre off a rim. At this point, I knew I needed to get the winch out, which I did, and this actually worked. I managed to pull the cruiser about 100 metres up the track. However, classically, I came upon a fatal problem once again. The pull in-out function on the winch handle had malfunctioned, and while the winch would pull fine, I couldn't release any weight off of the winch drum in order to reposition the winch, and so I was totally stuck like this, unable to pull any further forward without repositioning the winch, and unable to let the weight of the vehicle off the winch cable. At this point, I knew I was in trouble, so I called my new friends at the 4x4 group, ostensibly for advice, but they immediately offered to come and pull me out again. And so not 24 hours since I'd said goodbye to them, having pulled me out of a mud pit on the side of a mountain, they were back again, helping me out of a mud pit in a forest.
Cantabria, colegas en Cantabria.
Cantabria, estamos aquí. La gente mejor del mundo. Amigo, en serio.
Nos gusta mucho esto.
Y yo también.
Nos gusta el todoterreno mucho.
Sí, es como una vida, ¿no? Como un estilo de vida.
Un estilo de vida.
El barro, como... Sí.
Otro mundo.
Otro mundo, exactamente.
¿La plancha las tienes abajo?
Sí, tengo dos abajo, pero creo que son enterradas, ¿cómo se dice?
Enterradas.
Enterradas, sí.
And so with the help of North off-roaders and using the power of the 2 winches in combination, we managed to pull the stricken cruiser up the hill and out of the mud. And just in time as the rain returned to make this place even more of a mud bath. At this point, I needed to go back to civilization to take care of my broken winch and my lack of spare wheel. The guys accompanied me down from the mountain, and we took in a river crossing along the way out, which was especially fun in the dark. In the next town, the guys took me to a mechanic friend of theirs who not only immediately fixed my winch, but also gave me a spare wheel and tyre that he had lying around, stoically refusing any offer of payment that I gave him. Once again, I find myself humbled by the kindness of strangers. Thanks to everyone involved in this recovery and the kind people of Cantabria.